My name is Mukhtar, and I wanted to make this. This is my first official YouTube video, so bear with me. So I just wanted to make this video to sort of document my journey and show the entire process that I used to build an AI, to fine tune an AI model, to create an AI product. So basically, I'm a prompt engineer. And this video is going to show you how I use my prompt engineering skills to sort of fine tune OpenAI's ChatGPT to create an AI model that helps professionals rewrite their resume. Right. So if that's not clear now, it's going to be clear to you later on as you watch the video. So this video is just showing exactly how I did that from A to Z, how I did the market research, you know, and how I actually wrote the prompt that I used to train and fine tune the AI model. So just to get started, so the first thing I did was to learn about what makes a good resume, for example. So I read a bunch of like articles online on what makes a good resume. I checked out the Harvard University website, and I read what they had to say about what makes good resumes. I also checked a bunch of articles by this website here. Uh, so CNBC, and they have a lot of articles written about resume and what makes a good resume. So I read a bunch of them to really understand what makes a good resume. Yeah. So I took that. I took some of my. I took that. So I took some notes, as you can see here. Uh, so I took a lot of notes. This took me like weeks to actually do this. It was very arduous and tasking, to be honest, because I don't know anything about this market, but I decided that, okay, I want to create a product for this market, so I'm actually going to do my homework. So this is me just sort of like taking notes and trying to understand what makes a good resume. So I took some notes. So, and then after that, I decided to create sort of like an outline that I was going to use to program the AI model, as you can see here. So basically, what this model is basically an AI model that helps you rewrite your resume, basically. And for that to happen, I have to like program it in a certain way. Like I have to fine tune the model in a certain way to be able to get the result that I want. And as you can see, this is sort of like an outline that I created on the exact step that I was going to follow. So step one here was find out what makes the best resume out there. Gather 3 to 5 good resumes out there. Then um, then gather 3 to 5 average resumes out there, and then tell ChatGPT, which is the AI model that we're gonna be training in this video, to analyze the good resumes and note what he finds, and then tell it to analyze the average resume and note what he finds, and then tell it to compare his findings from the good resume versus the average resume and note down the difference. Then tell it to use the difference as a formula to optimize and improve every resume it's given. So that was kind of like the rough outline I created initially, but I ended up not like following this outline because I think I found a better way, which is what I'm going to be digging into right now. So after I sort of did some market research, I I uh, I decided to go into the AI model itself and start prompting. Yeah. So for some of you who don't really know what prompting is, or prompt engineering is basically just giving an AI model is a set of instructions that it can act on to give you kind of a response that you want. So for example, if you found yourself in, let's say you're traveling to uh, a city in the United States, maybe Texas, and you just found yourself somewhere like Dallas, and you don't really know your way around, you can ask ChatGPT to sort of give you suggestions on, ChatGPT again is the AI model. You can ask ChatGPT to give you suggestions of like the best restaurant in Dallas, right? So, and it would sort of give you suggestions. But then the extent to which you can really you can how well you write the instruction that you give the AI model will the kind of response you get, the quality of the response you get depends on how well you write the instructions, which is called prompt. And that's the whole point of prompt engineering, is that a prompt engineer is someone who can write really good instructions that an AI model can act on to get the exact result that a prompt engineer wanted. Yeah, that's what a prompt engineer does basically. So what I did here was I decided to go into the model and sort of prompt it to see what the model has to say about good resumes. So so this is the first prompt that I wrote here. So it says, "Hey GPT, what are the five absolute must-have features a good resume should have? If I could only apply to 10 jobs with my resume, what five things must I include in my resume that would almost guarantee that I get a call back and eventually get hired? Your answers must be backed by strong data and industry experts' advice." So, uh, I may not get into the mechanics of this prompt right here because that's not really the point of the video. Uh, um, but this is what a good prompt looks like, you know. So basically, if you want something, if you want an answer or you want to have a question, you're gonna write it out in the form of like an instruction, which is called prompt, and then you're gonna give it to the AI model, ChatGPT, and it's gonna give you back a response, right? So this is what I wrote because I wanted to find out what makes a really good resume, not just from my own perspective, you know, because I've done my own market research. I understood what makes a good resume, but I wanted to hear from the AI model itself, you know, because these models are trained, they have ability to they have access to some of the information on the internet, so they can sort of like crawl the internet and give you, you know, a pretty decent response. So this is Chat GPT's response, and for resume that will maximize the chances of getting noticed and hired. Uh, these are like the features that you want to follow. The first one is that it has to be tailored to the job description. That was, you know, I also found out that when I did my own research. So when you're writing, when you if you want to have a good resume or when you're applying for a job, you have to make sure that the resume is tailored to the particular job that you're applying for. And in fact, you have to sort of, you know, use some of the keywords that were used in the job descriptions. You have to use those keywords in your resume, right? So I want to get into why that's important later. So you have to have strong qualifiable achievements. So this is actually the most important thing when you're writing a resume, which I found out later. So you have to have strong quantifiable achievements. You have to have a professional summary. This is according to ChatGPT. Uh, you have to have a clear, clean, and well organized formatting, which is absolutely true, very important. And then you have to have a skills section that is relevant to the role. Yeah. So based on this prompt that I fed into ChatGPT, it gave me this response. So I decided to write another prompt just to see if I'll get a different answer. Yeah. So I wrote, if an expert resume writer wanted to take a mediocre resume to a world class resume that gets recruiters calling the applicant back and blowing up his phone, what are three things he would change on the resume? Answers should be backed by strong data and industry experts' references. So this particular prompt, uh, as you can see here, is so like I think maybe some of you watching this video may not really understand why this prompt are sort of structured this way. But you know, based on my own learning and understanding after working with this model, after you know, trying to learn what makes good prompts, I found out that there are things you have to include in your prompt to really get a if you want to get a really good response, right? And one is to sort of use uh, uh, I, I guess I'm not sure exactly how to explain this, but you can sort of use uh, references, like you know how people say certain things that that only could be understood if you understand a particular language. Yeah. So because this model is trained with English, you can use certain references that would help you best communicate what you're trying to get across to the model. So when I say if an expert resume writer wanted to take a mediocre resume to a world class resume that gets recruiters calling the applicant back and blowing up his phone, I mean, like, what does it really mean for recruiters to be calling an applicant and blowing up his phone? Like, what does that really mean, right? I mean, I could have simply just said, "Hey, how can I? What makes a good resume?" Yeah, but when I phrase it this way, the model actually responds better, right? It takes that and it has the way of interpreting it and giving you a very good result based on uh, you know based on when you phrase your prompts like this. Yeah. So what does it really mean when when the resume is so good that recruiters are calling the applicant and blowing up his phone? Well, it just means that they probably love the resume. The resume is so good that the recruiters are excited to talk to the applicant. Yeah. So when you write that, when you give ChatGPT that, it kind of takes that as like, oh, like you know, it uses that as part of its decision making process to give you the best response that you want. So so and then I sort of also I wrote, so what are three things he would change on the resume? Answer should be backed by strong data and industry expert reference. So the reason why I always put this is because the model has a tendency to hallucinate. So what hallucinations mean are basically uh, are guesses. Basically, if the model doesn't really know the answer to something, it will sort of like guess, right? Which is called a hallucination. So I did not want the model to guess. I wanted it to give me answers that are backed by data, right? Strong evidence. So that's why I put that there. So this is the response I got back from ChatGPT. Uh, so you have to tailor the resume to specific job descriptions. You have to highlight measurable achievements and impact. You have to optimize layout and design for readability. So it's kind of similar to the first response that we got here. So, and then I tried it again because I wanted to just really understand that, okay, like I wanted to see if I was going to get a different response based on based on a different prompt. So I wrote another prompt here. If a hiring manager who has experience hiring superstars, employees, and has reviewed over 10,000 resumes in their lifetime, wanted to take a mediocre resume to a world class resume, what three quick fixes would it make to the resume and why? Responses should be backed by strong data. As you can see here, this is another way of me phrasing the prompt to really get a good response from ChatGPT. Um, so so the response we got was clarity and focus. You have to tailor the resume to the job. Again, this is coming up again. Quantifiable achievement. This is coming up again, and strategic use of keywords. So that your resume is optimized for the ATS, the applicant tracking system, which a lot of job seekers are familiar with. If you're not a job seeker right now, you may not understand some of these terms. So so, so after I prompted the model and I got some response, this was sort of like my own research. These are my own findings that I got here. As you can see, it says prompter's notes. And after doing some research myself and reading actual articles written by hiring managers, recruiters, and career coaches, these are my conclusion on what makes a good resume. So based on my own finding, this is what this is the conclusion I came to. This is what I read basically. Uh, your resume must be brief. Your resume has to be result based. Your resume has to reflect the skills and experience that the employer is looking for. The resume has to have keywords that were used in the job descriptions. Um, no fluffy content, no buzzwords, no misspellings, no grammatical errors, no catchphrases. Uh, you know, Creating a LinkedIn profile along with your resume helps you, can give you an edge, can give you an advantage. If you're a recent grad, your education should come before your experience because you don't have that much experience to begin with. Um, Submitting a cover letter along with your resume can honestly can be the main reason why you were considered, because like when you have a cover letter, which most people don't include with their resume, when you have a cover letter, it gives you an edge over all the applicants, right? Honestly, that's what I read. That's what I found out. So, and then no GPAs unless it's 3.5 or above and you are just out of college. That's what I read. I mean, this conclusions were, this is what I found by after reading articles that are written by hiring managers and recruiters. So these are people that are actually reading resumes every day. Is their job, is their life. So I'm not making any like anything that you see here. I did not make it up. I read it online by articles written by experts and people who actually do this for a living. So, number nine, no GPAs. So I already read that. So use powerful action verbs when you're writing the complement section, which is like under when you're writing about your experience. You want to use strong action verbs. Uh, so examples of action verbs I want to use are accomplish, improve, train, mentor, manage. No personal pronouns like I did this, I that. Instead, you could just say accomplished, improved, spearheaded, uh, boosted, or something like that. Right? Those action verbs. You want to start each bullet point under your job description, under your experience with action verbs. So do not lie on your resume. That's what I heard that most people lie on their resumes. You're not supposed to lie. No objectives or summary statements unless you have over 7+ years of experience. That's what I read. Include resume titles like certified public accountant, senior staff, blah blah blah. So I read that if you want to stand out, you should have a resume that has like a resume title, right? So these are some like my own findings. So what I was gonna do now, what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take I'm gonna take responses from so I'm gonna take my own findings and ChatGPT's answers about what makes a good resume, and I'm gonna use that to program uh, an AI model that would help people improve their resume and rewrite their resume, right? So you rest assured that the resume is trained on best practices. If you have a resume right now that you want to improve, you can just put it into this model, and the model will be able to improve your resume based on best practices. So that's exactly what I wanted to do with the model, and that's exactly what I did. So um, so I think I'm going to end the video here. I'm not sure how long this is running. I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to make another one where we'll go over the actual prompt that I used to train the AI model, that I used to fine tune the AI model. So this is where the prompt starts here. So I'm going to end the video here, and let's so okay. So